Armored Core 6 is coming and so am I. A series I grew up on. I couldn't tell you what any of the story was about because I never played it. I played 1v1s against my cousin growing up, and it was so fun to customize our mechs together and to duke it out on this variety of maps that they would have at their disposal. Some had so much verticality that it blew my mind at the time. It was fun, dynamic, and every match felt different because I could customize my mech and my cousin could customize his to different styles. We would learn the maps, learn each other's moves. It was just flat out fun, and Armored Core 6 is coming soon. And it seems like FromSoft are learning a lot of lessons from their ventures into dark fantasy with Soulsborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring, and incorporating certain elements from that series that could fit into Armored Core like a glove. And I got to agree, a lot of the changes that I'm seeing in Armored Core 6 and just Armored Core 6 as a whole look very enticing and intriguing, and I'm looking forward to it immensely. And we recently saw a showcase for Armored Core 6 where they showed off a boss fight, a mission, and some of the PvP, and all around it looks very good. I think one of the standout things for me so far with Armored Core 6 is just the overall environmental design when it comes to the single player. My god, does it look engrossing. It looks like this sci-fi apocalyptic landscape that just makes Mecha, and especially things like Armored Core, just ooze rule of cool. And one of the great things about Armored Core is its varied playstyles. Not even just predicated on the idea that you can swap out your weapon parts and all that, but also you can have different types of mechs. Do you want a tank mech that may be a little bit faster on the ground, or give you more weight, but it's not going to give you a lot of mobility and airtime? How mobile do you want your mech to be? There's so much customization when it comes to these mech games that I find absolutely tantalizing. And mech games as a whole have been kind of on the decline in the last 10 or so years. Just not too many well-renowned mech games have been coming out. I think the best case we've had is Demon X Machina, which was meant to, it's alright. Like, it's cool. It's not amazing, but it's pretty cool. And Armored Core 6 has a chance to reignite passion in a genre that is wildly underutilized in the modern day, especially with modern tech. I think now more than ever, mech games have a chance to rise to the occasion and really take off and become all of their own, because they have so much potential. But I feel a lot of the times when companies try and create a mech game, they lean too far into the realism or into certain aspects, and the flair of the genre kind of gets lost. And for my limited time playing Demon X Machina, I think it nailed quite a few points about this. I think mech games are at their best when they're fast-paced. Yes, watching a show or watching a movie and stuff like that, having giant, lumbering, slow mechs that move slowly, but when you know they're on target, everything in that general vicinity is going to get wiped out. That is very cool, and it can work for small, individualized moments that are handcrafted to that experience. But the problem is, when that is the core gameplay loop, the game can just feel slow, meandering, and counterintuitive to an interesting gameplay formula. That is not Armored Core, though. Armored Core, especially from the looks of Armored Core 6, seems to be very fast-paced, hectic, high-octane. You're gonna be boosting everywhere, charging into foes, knocking them into Kingdom Come, whipping out some swords, and just slashing foes to pieces, busting out Gatling guns or missiles or pile bunkers, and just going to town, swapping between various attachments to suit the situation. The joys of a mech game, in my opinion and from my experience, are when they are heavily customizable. They do not take away from the idea that they are customizable and lean into the idea that at any moment, at any time, you can change the core components of what makes your mech and customize it on the fly. It is like having a human being where you can swap out any part at any given time. It's so much customization at a given moment that it allows the player to make their mech all of their own and give it a sense of their own unique identity. And when you allow the player to scavenge parts from around the map, it makes the map incentivizing to explore and navigate as well, because there's a synergy there between the customization you have at your disposal and what you can acquire in the overworld. This is something that I absolutely adored from Demon X Machina, where in the missions that you completed, if you defeated enemy mechs, they may drop components that are better than yours, and you could just pick them up and keep them. So you are always trying to get certain components that were better than the ones you had, and you were always feeling this sense of progression. Customization and progression and high-octane pacing are the names of a mech game in my opinion. And when the game is able to lean into those elements, that is when the formula is able to shine brighter than so many other games out there. Armored Core 6 is seemingly leaning into all of these elements and taking the best lessons from the mech games of ages past and of Armored Core. What's another element of mech games that you can utilize properly nowadays, but lean into even more? That's the sense of scale and immersion in the whole world itself. Some of these boss encounters in Armored Core 6 that we've seen so far range in terms of size, but they're all visually striking, memorable, and intriguing, and they also look fun to fight mechanically. It's not just leaning on rule of cool, it's how can we provide rule of cool while also giving players interesting mechanics to overcome and counter, and to learn for this encounter to get better at for the next one. That is one of the things that From Software are masters at in this industry, and if there's any company out there that's going to do this right, it is From Software, because they understand interesting boss design. And when you combine that with an interesting world to explore that you can constantly pick apart and get better at, while looking visually striking, a good old From Software soundtrack alongside that, even a halfway decent narrative, and you have on your hands something that has a ton of potential. Do I think it will be as successful as Elden Ring? No. I don't think it has to either. But I think what Armored Core 6 has a chance of doing is reigniting passions and interest overall in a genre long nearly forgotten, with only scattered reminders of its once domination in the industry. Armored Core 6 has a potential to be an incredible game that can be fleshed out, iterated on, and developed alongside the other games that From Software does, while also allowing FromSoft to use potential ideas for boss fights that they may have had that don't fit in the fantasy aesthetic that they have for Soulsborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring, but they may work in a sci-fi setting for Armored Core 6, especially when it comes to mechs. Have you seen some of the boss fights in Armored Core 6? One of the fights is like the entire horizon. Remember the elephant from Halo 3? Yeah, scale that up by like 1,000, and that's a boss fight in Armored Core 6, and you can like pick apart at it piece by piece, knock down a section, climb up that section to do other fights and to try and take down the larger robot as a whole. It's sick, it's cool. It's like, how do we make this cool? How do we incorporate this? How do we make this interesting visually, aesthetically, thematically, and gameplay wise? Because you have a mech, you can make navigation in the world, and even on the boss fights themselves, wildly imaginative. You don't have to play by the rules of a traditional game. Who cares? You have a freaking giant robot? Make it all of your own. Lean into those elements. Lean into the idea that you are piloting an armored core and just say, why not? And that idea of, why can't we do this, why not, seems to be the driving force behind everything I've seen out of Armored Core 6 so far. I want to play every boss fight that they have shown. I want to get better. I want to customize my mech and try each of these fights with different styles of mechs just to see which I prefer or what strategies that I can develop for this. The only real kind of slight red flag that I have right now is the map design in the multiplayer, because what they showed off was a bit one-dimensional, just kind of like an open square for you to fight in. I like having maps that have that insane sense of verticality, where the map itself feels like it's part of the actual gameplay loop, and you can learn the map and understand map control. I like that and those elements, and I want to see that for Armored Core 6. They may have that and just showed off those rudimentary maps because it enabled them to show off, here's a giant robot fighting another giant robot, have fun with it. And I can understand that. I just personally would also like to see more maps where the map themselves are more imaginative in design and have a bit of a natural synergy with the gameplay as well. I would love to see stuff like that. And that may come. But there's so much potential with Armored Core 6. There really is. Do I expect it to sell as much as Elden Ring? No shot. I'm not expecting that. Don't expect that to happen. And I don't think it has to in order to be successful. In order to carve out its own little space and niche in the video game modern day landscape. I think it's important to set realistic expectations, but still you can be excited about the game, because I'm very excited about it. And I want other companies and other studios to look at Armored Core 6 if the game does succeed, which I imagine it will. I want them to look at Armored Core 6, what it does so well, and I want them to try and do even better. Because I love mech games. I love Mecha. Giant robots are objectively cool to me. And if Armored Core 6 has the potential to bring back giant robots as a genre in the video game medium, I'm all for that. Lean into it. Sure, mech games never completely disappeared, but to say that they have been popular for the last 10 or so years, I think is just a little bit, come on, right? Like, come on. Like, we've had some, but they haven't been in the forefront of the games industry, like Armored Core 6 is kind of being right now. It's not the complete forefront by any stretch of the imagination, but it's up there. And I want Armored Core 6 to do well, because it's FromSoft, and FromSoft has proven time and time again that they are capable of releasing quality products that are feature complete, engaging, and that can absolutely grab hold onto the player's imagination and refuse to let go. FromSoft are masters at that idea. So personally, I'm very excited for Armored Core 6. I think it has a potential to do a lot for the video game industry and put more eyes on the mech genre. And I hope that it succeeds in all of those fronts. So I'm going to call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload and stream in the future, because you know I'll be covering Armored Core 6 when it comes out. I can't wait. Stay safe, have a great day, go play some video games if you can, and as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye bye everybody, until we meet again.